UFC Fight Night Hernandez versus Pereira has just taken place, and this is my reaction to the card. So there was 11 fights in total on the entirety of the event, and 2 wins came by stoppage. One by submission, and then in the main event, Anthony Hernandez got the stoppage in the 5th round by TKO over Michel Pereira. Look, I'm going to be honest, this is probably one of the worst UFC cards I've watched in a very long time. This was shit. Really, really bad, to be honest with you. Start off with the main event, which is probably the only real highlight of the card. Anthony Hernandez absolutely dominated Michel Pereira for all 5 rounds in there. A lot of people going into this matchup had picked Pereira to win. He was still the underdog going into it, and rightly so. But the guy was on a 5-fight win streak going in here against Anthony Hernandez, and it seemed like Michel Pereira had finally found his weight class, and that was the middleweight division. And when both guys were in the cage together, Michel Pereira looked like he wasn't even in the middleweight division compared to Anthony Hernandez. He looked absolutely gigantic in there to Anthony Hernandez. But anyway, the fight starts. Michel Pereira does pretty good work, and this is a big hole in Anthony Hernandez's game that I think more of the elite guys, more elite kickboxers in the division will probably exploit and might finish him from it, to be honest, and that's body work. Anthony Hernandez looks very soft bodied in there. And any form of body shots the guy just does not deal well with. I know Roman Kopylov hurt him in his last fight with body shots, and Michel Pereira was doing the same, hurting him with those front kicks to the body. It seems to be a big issue for Anthony Hernandez. The guy just cannot deal well with body shots. Again, you get hit in the right spot in the body, though, you go down, it doesn't matter who you are. But that is just like a big weakness I see in the guy's game. But nonetheless, Michel Pereira starts off well, couple of body shots, about maybe 2 seconds into the fight gasses. Yeah, Michel Pereira, I thought the welterweight weight cut was just so much for the guy. That's why he was constantly drained, didn't have the gas tank to go. No, it's just the guy just does not have the engine to go. The guy just does not have the engine to go past 1 round. And we hadn't seen him go past the 2nd round in quite some time now. Anthony Hernandez, though, is probably one of the more underrated fighters on the UFC's roster, in my opinion, especially inside the rankings. This guy's currently ranked, what, number 13 in the middleweight division. I think he deserves better. I hope the UFC start to show the guy a bit more respect now. He's coming off a win over Edmund Shabazian and Roman Kopylov. Those are 2 highly thought of prospects, and then he beats Michel Pereira, who the UFC were trying to get inside the top 10 rankings of the middleweight division, all while this guy's been sat outside the top 10 and he really deserves to be ranked in it. I think they need to give Anthony Hernandez a lot more respect. This guy mixes it up extremely well. Now, not the most powerful in terms of striking on the feet, but the volume. The volume this guy puts on his opponents, the striking, the wrestling. Marab and Mario Batista need to take note of this guy. This is, when you want to say, oh, you're a grappling heavy style fighter, we want to see this. If you're feeling takedowns, that's fine. You can't score them all. Anthony Hernandez, I think, made middleweight history tonight by shooting like 28 takedowns. He didn't get all of them. In fact, he didn't get most of them. But it's the fact that when he did get his opponent to the ground, he was looking for submissions, looking for strikes. When he had him up against the cage, he was spinning off attacks with elbows, looking to land shots against the clinch. This is what we want to see. No standing there hugging, sniffing crotches knee into the thighs. That's really shit and so boring to watch. But Anthony Hernandez, clinical performance in there, just beat up Michel Pereira. Pereira literally had nothing in the tank after round 1. Like, it is crazy. Round 4, he showed a bit of something, defending a takedown, just purely based off strength, to be honest. But, like, really, really bad cardio for him in there. Like, this is your full-time job. What the fuck are you doing? 2 seconds, I'm thirsty. But yeah, Anthony Hernandez done everything right. Some of a bit of unique strikes thrown from him, like spinning kicks, especially that spinning like leg kick he was throwing. But it seemed to be landing, it seemed to be working. Obviously, against the guy he isn't breathing out of his ass after 2 seconds into the fight, those strikes aren't going to work, and Hernandez isn't the most polished striker, let's be honest. But he mixes it up really well, and he deserves a shot at someone inside the top 10. I think you give him Brendan Allen or Jared Cannonier next, to be honest. I think he's earned that. Maybe Brendan Allen's going to go in there against Marvin Vettori because they have a bit of history. That fight makes sense. Give him Jared Cannonier then. I think that makes sense. Anthony Hernandez has earned it. He busted Michel Pereira open up in the 5th round, and he just demolished him. That was as one sided of a beating as you're really gonna see. Anthony Hernandez, the only highlight of this card. Rob Font beat Kyler Phillips. Kyler Phillips might go down as one of the worst fighters of all time. Can't believe Rob Font was a plus 380 underdog. And yeah, let's just move on. Jake Hadley lost by decision. Darren Elkins got the win in 2024. Mateus Nicolau is never ever going to compete at the elite level in the flyweight division anymore. He got beat. And finally, what else we want to talk about? Austin Lane beat Rebellis to Spain. That rhymed. But yeah, Rebellis to Spain might be the biggest flop signing in UFC history. He could be up there with one of the worst fighters of all time, to be honest. And I mean that in the nicest way possible. Rebellis to Spain was coming in, Taekwondo specialist. People thought this guy's rise was going to be crazy. Waldo Ortiz Acosta beat him, which actually isn't a bad loss, to be honest. I think that guy is pretty slept on in the heavyweight division. Not that I think he's going to go far in the heavyweight division, but he's proven. And then you lose to Austin Lane. What the hell? Yeah, overall, UFC Fight Night Hernandez versus Pereira was dog shit. Thankfully, we've got 308 coming up, though, so peaks and troughs. Let me know your opinions in the comments below. And as always, like, share, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. And I'll see you again in the next one.